Silence, silence, silence. Folks, if any of you know anybody that's hiring, please have them give me a call. Holy God. I am employed, but God, I would not like to be at this spot I'm at. Okay, make sure audio is good. We are good. All right. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. This is Missouri Tigers Live. I am Zach Remelius. I'm here every week to talk about your Missouri football Tigers as we get set for the 2026 season. It is June 1st. Things are flying, folks. Of course, like always, if you are a Missouri fan, like and subscribe. Why not? It's a great place every Monday night, and there are a lot of great Missouri outlets out there. Come talk some football. Get some new viewpoints from an angry 28, 29, 28. Good God, I'm almost 30, which is crazy to me. Please like and subscribe, and subscribe to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I say this every week. I remember when I got started here before the 2021 season doing Alabama football, and just how it's grown since even then. You can go to our website, voiceofcollegefootball.com. See all the shows we have. Who else is live tonight even? Arkansas, Miami, Bama, Rutgers. I mean, God bless them. Fighting Shianos. Missouri, obviously, we're here. Ohio State, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Sooners, Tennessee, Colorado, West Virginia, and then Mark's the college football show. There's all sorts of stuff. You can kind of see who LSU's on Sundays. Tomorrow night, Iowa, Nebraska, another Alabama show. Michigan, Texas A&M, Indiana, Iowa State, Texas, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, USC. Maryland's got a show. I'm just trying to show you the diversity of opinions here at this network and the diversity of viewpoints. Like, obviously, Mizzou guy here doing Alabama was a lot of fun. I liked it because I wasn't a Bama fan, so Tennessee fans would come in and talk crap, and I'm like, I don't care. You can talk crap to me, it's fine, I don't care. I'm not gonna get emotional because, and trust me, 5 years ago I was gonna get emotional, but I'm good now. We also have the store on the voiceofcollegefootball.com. We have some hats, shirts, polos. Get your stuff before the 2026 season that starts in 12 weeks. We're getting close. We're getting really, really close. Which is super exciting as we get closer to the season. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. This week's been a lot of basketball and baseball, regionals, SEC, not a great showing. Oklahoma will play KU in oh my God, why is that happening? UCLA and Georgia Tech losing is crazy. I got college baseball on right now as Kentucky plays West Virginia and Florida plays Troy. So college baseball regionals are fun. There were some UCLA people complaining about it, which of course they are, but it's because they're losers and they lost. So, and we'll see if Auburn can not absolutely, because number 1's out, number 2's out, number 4's playing for their lives in about an hour. Crazy. Anyway, you guys are here for Missouri Football Talk. So, like I said in the original tweet, it is preview season. We're going to start doing a team a week. If I have to miss a week for whatever, we'll double up. But first up is Arkansas Pine Bluff. The Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, based, of course, out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I thought I had to sneeze. And I had a brain fart. I'm not going to lie to you people. Based out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, they are a member of the Southwest Athletic Conference. In 2025, UAPB went 4-8, 2-6 in the SWAC. 2 of their wins, one was over Lincoln, California. It is an independent and plays as a traveling team, which is something I learned while I was doing a little research, hoping to join the NCAA. Their Wikipedia page literally says hoping to join the NCAA by 2022. So I don't know, and last year they went undefeated. So, and have had the same coach the whole time. So again, that was one of their wins. Another one over Westgate Christian, who does not have a Wikipedia page. So their wins over teams you might have heard of, Alcorn State, and then they got a win over Southern. Of course, both those teams in the SWAC. Southern finished below them in the SWAC standings. Southern went 1-7, and then Alcorn State went 4-4. So a little bit of an upset there. They did play Central Arkansas last year. This is my cat's going to go for a run. Central Arkansas, of course, opened last season playing Mizzou, a 61-6 win for the Tigers. They lost to Central Arkansas 41-17 last year. So you can kind of gauge where they were at within the Southwest. They played Texas Tech. They lost 67-7, lost 51-7 to Texas Southern. Had some close games in the SWAC, 4-point loss to Florida A&M. They played Prairie View and lost 56-9, which is not a close game, of course. Got beat pretty bad by Alabama State. But that was their 2025. Not one for the ages. They are led by head coach Alonzo Hampton. He's been the head coach. This is now going to be his 4th season, I do believe. Yes, his 4th season as the head coach of the Golden Lions. He played college football for UL Monroe. I'm reading his Wikipedia. He played for the Frankfurt Galaxy of NFL Europe. If you ever played at Madden 06, you could play. I think you could play as him, right? No, he wasn't. He wasn't there at that time, was he? No, it was 98, 99. Oh, wow. I'm way off. He's been a head coach kind of all over. Warren High School, Dumas High School, Arkansas Pine Bluff. He's coached everywhere. As a head coach, he's been at Arkansas Pine Bluff for 3 years. His record is 9-26, 5-19 within the SWAC. He went 3-17 at the high school level in 2004 and 2005. So, been a head coach for 2 years, and it has not gone well. He was hired from Louisiana Monroe. He was a special teams coach, assistant head coach there. He had a stint prior to this at Arkansas Pine Bluff. He was the defensive backs coach for a couple years, then the DC for a couple years before he moved to defensive backs coach at Western Kentucky. And then he was at Tift County High School in Georgia, came back to South Florida, was an offensive analyst at Oregon in 2017. Florida State, he was at 2018 at Florida State, he was the special teams coach. 2019, so Chad Morris's last year, he was a defensive analyst at Arkansas. COVID was not employed in Louisiana Monroe, and now Arkansas Pine Bluff. So his overall record as a head coach is 12-43, which isn't incredible, obviously, but that's a tough program, man. All those schools, just because of the limitations, are tough jobs. So credit to him for and still getting four wins last year too. So he went 2-6 against an independent team and a team that doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Sure. Just going over kind of the history, of course, FCS over FBS, they do happen. Last year, we only saw 4, which was Long Island over Eastern Michigan, which is a bit crazy because Chris Creighton doesn't usually lose games like that. It feels like Bryant beat UMass. That was hilarious. I've never seen my one kind jump that high. Austin Peay beat Middle Tennessee. Again, Eastern Michigan 119th in SP+, met UMass 136 in SP+. Army was 74th, and they did lose to Tarleton State. 2021 had 12 FCS. They do happen, but becoming less and less frequent, obviously. I went back and looked at Mizzou's against FCS teams, and they've kind of cooked, man. Starting in 2006, they beat Murray State by 40, beat Illinois State by 21 in 2007, which is actually crazy. Beat SEMO by 40. They've beaten SEMO by 50 a couple times. Beat SEMO by 31 a different year. A ho-hum 34-17. That's the worst one I can remember is 34-17 over Abilene Christian in 2022. That was when I was like, oh, this team really stinks. South Dakota the next year, 35-10, wasn't great either, if I'm not going to lie. Sometimes these games don't matter. Like when it's like Southeastern Louisiana, they beat 62-10, and then the team turned out pretty freaking awesome. 2015, they played SEMO again, 34-3. Yikes. I remember that game. I think they had a defensive touchdown. They got a punt block. They scored 27 points on offense, and then that team did go a month without a touchdown, so that tracks. There was, of course, the crazy 72-43 game against Missouri State. They beat Delaware 79-0 with a horrible team. They finished 70th in SB+. But traditionally, Mizzou, they don't lose, and it's never been close. They've played a couple playoff teams in that range. They beat 38-18 over South Dakota State. I was at that game. I believe his name was Zach Zenner, the running back for the Jackrabbits. Broke off like a 75-yard run first play. It was like, uh-oh. Not like, oh, we're going to lose. Like, uh-oh, like this defense is not as good as last year. And it turned out they were kind of better in some ways. They've never really been challenged by an FC. Like Missouri State gave them a half in 2017. South Dakota State, it was 21-18 at one point. Like, so that is a game. But they got pulled away in the fourth, and they've never lost. So so I'm not like, of course, this is just a preview. This will probably be the shortest preview we do just because there's not going to be a lot to talk about. This isn't a good team. It's just not. This is from Rock M Nation, the Golden Lions. I've just picked up some stuff from them. They have been members of the SWAC since 1998. They are historically, of course, Black College and HBCU. And then, of course, I mean, they're in the SWAC. All those schools are exclusively HBCUs. 4 years at Pine Bluff is kind of what it's been. Again, from Rock M, UAPB, since 1998, they've had 6 different head coaches. 75% of them have lasted less than 4 years on the job. The longest was a gentleman named Lee Hardman, who went from 93 to 03 and 529 winning percentage. So, I did find this crazy. They did have like a crazy like 2007 Kansas year. In 2012, the year Mizzou was really struggling, Mizzou's first year in the SEC, they went 10-2 and they beat Jackson State for the SWAC championship. In between those years, they had won like 3 games, 5 games, and 6. And then in the losses, and the next following years, they went 2-4, 2-1, and 2 and wins. So like every school can have like magical years. Now that doesn't worry about that game, but whatever. They have 26 wins in their last 8 years, which is a little nuts. But look at this. These SWAC schools, sometimes it feels a lot like the MAC, where you have teams that are usually pretty good. Like Miami of Ohio usually plays some pretty good football. Bowling Green usually plays good football. Northern Illinois before they're in the Mountain West. For what it's worth, I was doing some like schedule stuff, and like I because of the World Cup coming up, I have kind of gotten back in like football brain. I was like, oh my God, Northern Illinois plays in Fargo, in what everyone's gonna be like, this is a what conference game? That's gonna be fun. But then like Kent State, Akron, Eastern Michigan, like some of these, like in Eastern, that's why I said earlier, Chris Creighton usually does a pretty good job, is because he traditionally gets them to a bowl game, if not 5 wins. I think last year was a bit of a disaster, but it all kind of depends. Oh, Florida, what in the heck happened? It all kind of depends on like who's got senior talent and who kind of catches lightning in a bottle. Toledo, of course, always good. We'll see how they do under the new coach after Jason Candle left for UConn, which is I'd forgotten about that. You don't realize like how much you forget it happened in an off season. Like you hear about the big things, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but ongoing things. Another crazy stat about Coach Hampton that I pulled is that he's coached football for 27. Now Rock M. They do great college football previews. Some of the stats I did pull from there just because they wrote it doesn't mean I can't talk about it and give my opinion. It was Nate Edwards, who does fantastic work. I don't I do some of my own research, obviously, but sometimes when somebody's already done it, like, just use it. It's free. It's not behind a paywall, and they do a great job. He's been a coach for 27 years, and he has 8 seasons as a coach where his team has more wins than losses. One of those was 7-6 Oregon. He was on the 11-2 South Florida team in 2016. 7-6, 7-5, like 8 and 4 year UAPB as a defensive backs coach in 2006. And that's it. Which is crazy, but the other, going into their coaching staff, they moved their quarterbacks coach to wide receivers coach. Hired a gentleman named Stephen Barnett to coach the receivers, and then brought on Dimitri Hill as his new offensive line coach. If you look at UAPB's site and you look at coaches, you will see that all of them are listed as co-offensive coordinators, which is strange, but that's okay. They did bring back their defensive coordinator, Jeff Burrow. A gentleman named Jeff Burrow. They hired Keith Scott, who was at Texas A&M Kingsville last year. Shout out to Kingsville. I have family that lives down there. So shout out to them. Good for them. But then they brought back their defensive line coach, brought back the linebackers coach. Like, it is what it is. They do return their starting quarterback. They do return starting running back, and they do return most of their receiving core, and a lot of their offensive line returns. This is coming from Rock M, so that's good. Let's pull up their quarterbacks. I hate how sometimes the websites are organized, just because it's kind of annoying. The guy that his name's Christian Peters. I guess they don't have the official rosters up for 2026 yet, do they? No, they do. What the heck? Why did I have it? Well, but it says 2026 roster on my thing, but it won't let me. Whatever. It's all good. They returned their quarterback. That's great. So this is a comparison to Mizzou. Mizzou last year in conference play, 63% completion rate, averaged at 5.9 yards per dropback, and threw for 15 touchdowns on the whole season. UAPB, 55.7 completion rate, 6 yards per dropback, which is more, and then threw for 16 touchdowns. And that's against FCS opponents, but that's a lower quality of competition, and UAPB just not good. So they barely averaged 4.5 yards per carry. 106. They kind of 38% third down rate. They scored 35 touchdowns. Mizzou had 46, just for comparison's sake. Look, continuity is big in college football. They return everyone back, but averaged 430 yards per game defensively. That's hilarious. 5.6 yard per rush, 63% completion rate, 25 touchdowns on the ground, 26 in the air. Pulled this from Rock M again, 5 recoveries out of 11 forced fumbles, which is a bit unlucky, and 11 interceptions on 320 passes. 41 of 48 drives that ended up in the red zone scored a touchdown. Healthy amount returns. But they gave up 5.6 yards per rush, so we'll see what Jamal Roberts and maybe we'll see. We're not going to know about until closer to the season. So they do open up with Morehouse College on 8/29 before they come to Missouri on September 3rd. For Mizzou, it's another weeknight game, debuting the new additions to the stadium, which is why I'll be watching along with doing this, of course. God, by the way, who let this week one happen? This week one this year is horrible. Then they'll get in the SWAC. They'll play Alcorn State, Central State. They get a bye, Southern, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, Grambling, Prairie View, Texas Southern. Look, I'll be frank. This is a game Mizzou should do what they did last year, where it was like 61-6, and the starters didn't really play the second half. Matt Zollers can play 4 games. This is a game you should see him in. You should. Jamal Roberts, especially if Hardy can't play, Jamal Roberts should not be getting more than like 13, 14 carries. Let your freshmen, let some of these other guys get run. This is a game that shouldn't be close at any point. Now, if like they score a touchdown, whatever, things do happen. I'm not, if it's 54-7 or 56-7 or 10, whatever, like things happen. I'm okay with that. But at no point should this game not be obvious what's going to happen. Even at like 3-0, I'm not too worried about like, oh, maybe, I want to see Blake Craig kick a couple field goals, see how he looks. Nothing stupid, please. No tackles 50 yards downfield by your kicker again, please. And I just want to see Austin Simmons fling the ball around a little bit, see these wide receivers get some run, get to see some of the younger guys get some run. It's kind of what these games are all about. So Mizzou should win this game by, 50 or whatever. But that's UAPB. Before you, and then once you beat UAPB, we move on to Kansas, and we'll do Kansas next week. But for now, I want to get into some recruiting here on Missouri Tigers Live. I am Zach Armelius here again. We just broke down Arkansas Pine Bluff. Let's go ahead and get into recruiting. There was big news today. Kingston Miles, the number 16 running back in the country, the number 4 running back in the state, number 4 running back in Missouri. Excuse me. No, that's wrong. Wow. I apologize. He's the 20 running back overall. Yeah. Okay. He's the whatever. Talented kid, top 300 kid. Doesn't matter. He committed to Auburn to go with Myson Johnson Cook. Was another guy Mizzou was really targeting. So you lose 2 guys. He's St. Louis kid. He was a top 100 kid. You lose him to Auburn. Okay, Lynn Williams-Collis, we've talked about him. He's visiting this weekend. Maybe they feel good about him, that they were like, we're not going to pay for him. But this is another whiff at a spot where Missouri should not be whiffing that much. Like, we have established running back. Now, again, the NFL stuff's a little in, but it's annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. But Mizzou is coming off their first official Missouri is coming off their first official visit weekend. Kyler Kuhn was here, 4-star offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman. Competition is Iowa next week, and then he's going to Nebraska June 12th. Jack Marquard, a 3-star offensive tackle visited. He's visiting Wake Forest this week, Indiana the following week, and then Duke. Evan Villa, cornerback from Ladue, 3-star corner. He's visiting Stanford and then Wisconsin. He was kind of a late offer. We'll see if they can hold off Stanford and Wisconsin. Umbate, a defensive lineman, he's going to Nebraska this weekend. He was supposed to go to Michigan State, but he came to Missouri. It'll be Mizzou versus Nebraska for this. The kid from Shakopee, I don't know. Minnesota. Sean St. Fleur, a 3-star defensive lineman from Maryland. He's visiting Virginia Tech, then Purdue, then Cincy. I have a hard time believing James Franklin's going to let any of these Maryland kids go, but Chris Kasky from LaGrange Park, Illinois, 3-star defensive end. He was there. He is a commitment of Missouri offensive line commit Luke and Jaychok. Iowa on June 5th. He did visit Indiana May 15th. And then Kobe Rhymes, a three-star linebacker from Kansas City. He's visited Kansas. He's visiting Wisconsin this weekend, Kansas State, and then Nebraska. He's going up through June 20th, basically through that weekend. So that's who was on campus this weekend for the Missouri Tigers, which is it's a healthy amount of guys. We do have a commitment from Dami Suanumi. Again, I'm sorry. I hear it and I can't keep it, and then all I see it is red. But defensive lineman from Brownsburg, Indiana. He's 6'4", 260 pounds. He's visited Mizzou twice. He came up for junior day in January and then March. Chop Harbin has really been pushing. He had scheduled other officials at Kansas State and Cincinnati. This is from Power Mizzou. He had other offers from Indiana, of course, Boston College, Iowa, Louisville, Michigan. He's the 10th commit for Missouri in this class. He is the first defensive line commit, and he's coming back on the 5th, so this weekend. But he has committed. So that's, hey, looky there. Good for him. It's kind of just need to keep bringing in guys. It's all you can do is just keep bringing dudes in. Success Nuabade, a 4-star from Georgia, has put Mizzou on his 4 official visits. I didn't see who the other visits were. Georgia Tech, South Carolina. Yeah, Georgia. That's what I thought. Again, if it's a guy Mizzou wants, they'll make a push, but it's just going to it's going to be really tough. Another guy with a commit is Javion Willis. I wrote this in my notes. Did he commit like today? He did. So he's visiting Mizzou still according to 247, but he committed to Pitt May 30th. God, we have so many safeties. Whatever. That's actually crazy. Why so many safeties, Eli? Like, we don't need a million safeties. As I was just scrolling through my notes, yeah, shout out to Mark Mitchell. He's getting a workout with the Knicks. So Prince Goldsby was another guy they were high on, 4-star out of Blue Springs. He is going to Ohio State. Again, can't be too upset about that. Like, I can't be upset when these guys choose better programs. If we want to dip into basketball recruiting, Mizzou did offer Devin Cleveland, 4-star from Lumiere in Indiana. He is a point guard, 6'3", 165, so a little bit on the lighter side. Needs to fill out his senior year, but he's like Aaron Rowe size, so that's not good. But he's top 40 kid, but so is Aaron Rowe. I'm not. So, and then they also offered Jalen Mitchell for overtime elite down in Atlanta. Peyton Marshall played there. He's a 4-star, top 70 kid on 247, top 115 on 247 consensus. It's going to be interesting how those kind of guys are recruited moving forward, just because, like, why would you go to Mizzou and sit for 2 years when you can just transfer to Mizzou in a couple of years? I know they've talked about getting rid of, but that's some of the recruiting talk. Nothing crazy going on. I got some visits. We'll do kind of this next week. We'll have a little bit longer to talk about Kansas, because that is the game we, of course, be breaking down next week. we're 12 weeks out, man. We have 12 games to preview and 12. No, hang on. How many shows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so we'll be right there as far as who will be lined up. I may have started this a week early, but I probably will be missing a week or something somewhere. It's just how the world works. Anyway, I did want to get into a little bit of national talk. We are seeing like some lists and stuff being put out. We saw the CBS Sports put out their top coaches. Eli did make the top 25, which is a bit surprising. I feel like Eli doesn't get some of the respect he deserves for like how good of a job he's done. Again, I don't think Eli is an amazing coach. I just don't. Like, I think he has his strengths. I think he's perfect for Missouri football. I think he has some in-game stuff. I think he coaches a little conservatively, which I don't love. He doesn't. To me, sometimes it doesn't feel like he coaches. He's at Missouri. He coaches like he's at Alabama, where you can be a little bit more safe, I guess is the word. So I don't know. But then we saw CBS put out their top 25 coaches. They had Eli at 23, which is up a spot. And that's about right. Like, they had him behind like Kenny Dillingham, Joey McGuire. I don't agree with – I think he's a better coach than Joey McGuire. I just think Joey McGuire has all the money in the world. Talk about Texas Tech here in a second. Kirk Ferentz, fair enough. Josh Heupel, sure. Willie Fritz, agree there. I think Willie Fritz is just a damn good ball coach. Lincoln Riley, this is going to be a big year for him. They have the roster to do some damage. Matt Campbell, Rhett Lashley, fair enough. Mike Elko has put him in a box for 2 years, so fair enough. James Franklin, yeah. Sataki, fine. Dabo, I don't know about in 2026. Kyle Whittingham, sure. Lane Kiffin, sure. Kalen DeBoer, sure. Cristobal, Sark, Dan, Marcus, Ryan, yeah, sure. Like, of course. Like, fair enough. Rhett Lashley's been to the playoff, and I just, I think a lot of it depends on school. Like, Gary could not have done what I was reading, like old Athlon Sports, because those are starting to come out. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if Eli can do what Gary did. He's basically doing what Gary did in a tougher conference. So, oh my God, Troy's going to beat Florida. Wow, that was unexpected. Shout out to my boy that works down there. That's tough. Don't love that for him. Anyway, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about is this Brandon Sorsby stuff. Cover 3 made a really good point about this the other day. Like, look, I'm all for helping people with mental illness. People in my lives have mental illnesses, addictions. And of course, if that is, I haven't read enough. I don't know if it is something that Brandon Sorsby's dealing with. Man, I hope he gets the help and he can still, if the league determines, go play in the NFL and have a wonderful career there, make a crap ton of money, and have a career. He's not barred from playing football for the rest of his life, but he made decisions, and he should not play college. If you let him play college football this year, you have opened the doors for a lot of bad things to happen. If you let a guy that bet, and look, it sucks for Texas Tech. I have no love for Texas Tech. It sucks for them. I get why they're fighting it, and you have to defend your player. I totally understand that. I'm not mad at Texas Tech for trying. And we still have a long way to go before an injunction and then follow-up appeal, whatever. I don't blame Texas Tech for trying, because you have to get the reputation that you tried for your guys. You have to. I understand. But you can't let him play college football this year. You can't. Alcoholism is a disease. If someone drinks and drives and gets into an accident, we still put and injure somebody, we still put them in prison. I'm not saying Brandon Sorsman needs to go to prison, but like actions have consequences. We should not be letting him play college football this year. I don't like this is ridiculous. This little chicken shit thing they're doing with judges. Again, I don't blame Joe McGuire. I don't blame Texas Tech. If they did nothing and they just accepted it, that gives them a reputation with future transfers and hurts their chance at getting guys in the future. So I get why they're doing it. It's dumb, but I totally understand it. But man, like you just can't let him play college football this year. You just can't. He can't play college football this year. Which is fine, but it's fine. It's not again. It's not. He can play football again. He's not barred from it. But man, like he just cannot play college football this year. I don't want to spend too much long on it. But yeah, that's kind of everything I wanted to touch on tonight. So this is Missouri Tigers Live. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychoZ50. Talked about UAPB, talked about some recruiting, some national stuff. We'll get into more national stuff. Like I said, with the World Cup, I know when the World Cup comes around, I'm going to be so like pilled for that because even despite them actively doing what they can to ruin the World Cup and the United States doing a horrible job of presenting the World Cup and Fox being terrible, and college football or college soccer talk in the United States is terrible because the U.S. isn't good. I'm still excited for it. Still love it. Still think it's going to be a lot of fun. And obviously we'll do football stuff, but I probably won't be listening to as much like football podcasts. And I think internally I know that. So it's like, all right, I'm spending the next 2 weeks. Like I started doing some of my spreadsheets. I've started, I like to do this thing every year where preseason, I just make like docs and I go through weeks and I'm like, okay, how do we categorize these games? Games I'm really looking forward to. Like they will go on my first TV. Games that I'll watch, they'll be in like rotation, and then follow that with games like no, thank you. Like I just don't care to watch a lot of Maryland football this year or Boston College football, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like I just don't care. Not that I don't care. And look, if they're good and they turn it around, great. I'll watch every snap. Like if Boston College has a kind of a Virginia year like last year, I'll watch every snap and root for them, but I'm good. I do have a goal to watch 1/4 of every college football team this year, which I think will be not too difficult. My buddy tried it with basketball. I think he got to like 330, but was just unable to finish. So, hey, we'll be back here next week for another episode of Missouri Tigers Live. We will talk about Kansas. We'll talk, of course, about another weekend of officials for the weekend of June 5th. Talk maybe if there's anything else national we want to talk about, and we'll go from there. Guys, we're getting really close. Once the World Cup's over, and I know a lot of people do, like even non-Big Kentucky, just tie it. That game. And I know not even people who don't like soccer love the World Cup. So once that's over, man, like it's gonna be time to go. Next week we'll also talk about Eli's comments. I want to have time to sit with him and kind of figure out what I think, because Eli did that thing where he opens his mouth and doesn't think about what he says. So sometimes it feels like so. Alrighty, be back. See you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the start of the NBA Finals. Stanley Cup. If you are a college baseball fan, enjoy the ending of regionals and super regionals. Softball, the College World Series is always fun. So Women's College World Series, and we're there. So I will see you all next Monday, 7 o'clock, same time. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your time.